guys, it's Ashley, your scrapping nerd. I have another scrapbook process layout for you today. I'm going to be using these Scrapaholics gears that I'll paint, and I'll show you that. And then these are some vintage kind of steampunk ephemera from 13 Arts. And these are the pictures. And this paper is from Stamperia. And I just loved the guy on the front there, so I'm actually going to cut him out. And then this is from my stash, and the gears are actually embossed, and then they're shiny. And so I don't know where that paper, I know it came from a paper pad, but. So I'm gonna start by painting these gears, and you can see it didn't record, but the gears are white now because I put some modeling paste on them, so that it just adds some texture so that when I paint them, it makes it look a little bit more rusty for the gears. And so I'm getting all these different colors of craft paint. I have Craft Smart in deep bronze, Folk Art in antique gold, and Deco Art in rich espresso. And so I start out by just painting each gear a different color. I didn't want to paint them all like one color and then add on top of it. So I start just kind of doing a gear here and there in each of the colors. Eventually I will mix them together, but I wanted the base coats to look a little different just to add some more dimension. So you can see that each gear currently is just being painted a base coat of one of the colors. So, and that modeling paste really helped just kind of show dimension for these gears. And then I decided I needed a little bit of gray just so it looked a little bit more rustic. So I used this craft paint from Martha Stewart in Arrowhead. And you can see I'm mixing it with the gold colors and just kind of doing like little splotches around. I'm not painting like a full gear gray or anything. I just wanted to add like a little bit of a darker color into the gears. To make them look a little bit more rusty. And then I'm going to use Distress Spray in Vintage Photo just to top them off. And so you can see I cut out the guy from the Stamperia paper, and then I'm going to ink the edges with the Distress ink in Walnut Stain just to make him a little bit darker around and try to help differentiate from the background because it's pretty dark itself. And I start out with having him on the right side. And you'll see, and then I'll put like all the pictures on the left. But I didn't like that because I liked him so much that I wanted him to be kind of the main thing on the page. And so I am gonna kind of fiddle around with this, and I start with the photos, and I believe they're like 3x4 photos. But then when I split them up, I will make one of them a 4x6. And so this is the leftover paper from Stamperia, and that's what I will back my photos with, just again to give it a little bit of differentiation from the background. So I'm just fiddling with them here and trying to decide where to put them. You know, I tried a different couple options. I really just liked him in the middle. So I left him there and then moved some photos around. And these are pictures from our Halloween party, and these are just family members that their costumes were steampunk. And so I thought this guy was just perfect for that. And that picture I made into a 4x6 instead, just because I thought it would take up that side of the layout a lot better. And so that layout, I finally decided that's what I like and where I want to put the photos. So then I'm going to back the photos with that leftover scraps from the Stamperia paper. It's like a light kind of blue color, and it looks really nice. I will ink the edges also with the walnut stain, just again to separate it and give it that kind of distressed look that I like. So I'm going to slide him under his hat there. And I couldn't decide if I wanted the gears under him or on top of him at the bottom, and I eventually decided that on top of him looks the best. And so I'm going to pop him up on foam. And so these are all just like scraps that I have of the adhesive craft foam, and you don't even see it. So that just kind of lifts him up off the page, and I just love it. And so I decided, like I said, the gears are gonna go on top. And then I didn't know if I should put some foam on the gears to make them level, but I kind of like that they tilt a little bit off of him, and I think that just gives a nice dimensional look to it. And so I'm gonna go through the 13 and Arts ephemera, and I like this for down at the bottom. I wasn't sure if I was gonna put a title or not. So you can see I'm just, putting these gears around. I put them on his hat. I tried a couple things on his hat, but I move it in the end. I just thought it looked too cluttery up there. And so I'm gonna put some of the smaller gears I'll put on top of the border down there, and it just will add a little bit more dimension to that gear border. And I'll put a couple on each of the corners of these photos. And then I started looking through the 13 Arts ephemera, and you'll see I'll put a lot on here, but then in the end I'll remove a lot of it. It just started to get a little bit busy, and the problem was that the 13 and Arts ephemera has like that white border that just makes everything stand out. And I tried that camera. I just loved that vintage camera up there in the top left next to the page. I tried a couple times to get that on the photo, but it just didn't work anywhere. So I can't wait to use that for something else. I used my acrylic blocks just to help hold down the gear border, just so that I made sure that it adhered completely to the page. And you can see that I put one of those like pipes there next to his shoulder down on the left, and that'll actually stay, but a bunch of this other ephemera I'll remove. And then because this is Halloween costumes, I thought maybe I should just put something Halloween related kind of in here, and I really liked the spider web up in the corner, and so I have that spider there kind of at the bottom, and I leave it there for a little bit trying to figure out if I liked it. But I just figured it was too big. And so then I have these little tiny spiders, and I put one up there with his hat, and then the one down at the bottom. And the one on the hat will be removed, but I will leave the one at the bottom there on the right. And it just adds a little bit, showing that it's a Halloween layout. And this little 31 that I put with the gear there on the bottom of the photo. And here I am trying to get that camera on the layout, but I finally gave up. It just isn't going to work on there. So I'm going to get these glued down, and because the little gear I glue on top of the big gear in the corners of the photos, they'll have some pop dots on the parts that are not on the gear so that they are level. So you can see there's two little pop dots on the edge, and then that just helps make it level and glue it. And I just use these acrylic blocks to help hold things down so they can dry, because they're a little bit heavier. I mean, they're cardboard gears, but still I want to make sure that it adheres well. And then I liked the pipes, and so I used some of that walnut stain and just went over it so it kind of took away the stark white border and made it look a little bit more dingy, just to go with the whole steampunk theme here and the rusted gears. And so I do that with all of the things that I do end up keeping on the layout. That's the stark white. I just use that walnut stain. You can see it here around that title area. I was thinking I would put a title, but I end up just putting poison there, which isn't really a title. This layout doesn't have a title. When it's in the album, it's going in the album with a bunch of photos from that Halloween party, so it doesn't necessarily need a title there. And so you can see, and I popped up that poison on some foam so that it sticks up a little bit too. And then this little haunted sticker word sticker that I put on the gear. I will use the walnut stain also on that just to make the word haunted look a little more distressed as well, to match everything else. And then that spider on the right there, he will make it on the page in the end. I just thought it needed a spider on there because I have that spider web in the corner, and I move him around a lot. You know, I thought it would be cute on the hat, but and looking at it now, it doesn't look awful, but then I just didn't like it. So I put it there, and I'll put some foam dots behind it as well, just to kind of pop him up. And so that's the layout. Thank you everyone that's liked and subscribed to my videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button. I really appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. Thanks. Bye.